Underwriting for the Money Doctor Show is provided by Ryan and Casey Liquors, Main Street, Greenfield. Exploring the world one glass at a time. West County Equipment Rental of Shelburne. Daily, weekly, monthly rentals. 625-6463 or on the web at westcountyequipment.com. The Franklin County Community Development Corporation. Growing sustainable businesses and communities since 1979. www.fccdc.org. Weld Communications, Marketing and Publicity. Helping businesses spread the word in the Pioneer Valley and beyond. www.weldwords.com.
There's a better life if I could be debt free, but all my money is a mystery. I was feeling overwhelmed and it was wearing thin when I knocked on the door and heard the doctor's in. Oh, the doctor's in, the doctor's in. She got the right prescription to help you win. Oh, the doctor's in, the money doctor's in.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frances Rayam, president of Power Down Debt, a positive debt management company. You know that jar of coins you have in the closet? You've had it for years. Or I wonder if you ever wondered what that was worth. Maybe you have some gold or silver you'd like to trade, or maybe you're like me and you just like to browse through history by way of a quaint antique shop. If you do, there's somebody I'd like you to meet. Gary Konvelski from Gary's Coins and Antiques in Turners Falls, Mass. Welcome, Gary.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in, first of all, coins and antiques together. There's got to be a story there.
Yeah, there is a little story. I like coins. I started collecting probably in the early 90s.
What got you started?
I think what got me started is I was actually off with a back injury, and I like error coins. I was fascinated by how coins got misstruck by the mint and got through quality control. And I started looking at that time. It was 1995. There was a 95 double die out. One was found.
Explain to people what that really means. It got stamped twice?
Yeah, it basically the hub got turned when it was stamped, when it was made, so it actually made a double image of Liberty and In God We Trust.
Oh, really?
Not the date. And so when you looked at it, it was actually like there were two liberties on the coin. So I went to the bank and bought a bunch of, because it was 95, I bought a bunch of boxes of pennies and started going through them. The first box I went through, I had never found one. I rolled them up, brought them back to the bank. Second box I found, I started finding them. So
really?
I knew once you start finding one, there's probably about 10 presses at the mint, so only one press was doing them. So about every 10 coins, you're going to basically find one.
No kidding. And they don't catch them in quality control on the way out the door?
They didn't catch these. Sometimes they do, but they didn't catch these because it wasn't a big error because you had to actually basically have a magnifying glass to see it. So when I started finding them, I found probably a roll and a half of them, so 56, probably 70 I found out of the one box. So the next day I went to my coin dealer friend and I said, what are these worth? And he says, I have no clue, because only one had been found. So we didn't know if the die had been caught, they did catch it and then just destroyed it, or how many were put out. So I called a couple big catalog dealers and they offered me $200 for 1 penny.
For a penny?
For a penny.
And you were hooked?
And I was hooked.
Okay.
So I started going to the banks.
Wow, that's interesting, yeah.
And buying more boxes of pennies and going through, and I would go to the bank. I'd tell the tellers, I'd give them a certain amount of money if they found one.
They must have been thinking,
and they were going
this guy
crazy.
that comes in and buys boxes of pennies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was,
and you
giving
had the
them,
tellers working for you.
Yeah, I was giving them like $100 a penny, and they were going crazy. So it was it was almost like hitting the lottery.
Yeah.
It was, and that really got me hooked.
Okay.
And after that, I just started going through dealers' boxes of coins, and most dealers don't look for errors because it's too time consuming.
Sure, tedious,
so I would go through and I'd find stuff, really neat stuff, and sometimes can be very valuable.
Huh.
Yeah.
When we were in your shop, you showed us many coins, and they were quite beautiful. But one in particular was a colonial coin.
Colonial, yep.
Can you tell us a little bit
From
about that?
1723.
Yeah. I was nervous just holding it.
Yeah. That's my oldest coin, 1723, in very good condition, probably uncirculated, and it was used in colonial times.
Imagine that. It was
Yeah.
uncirculated, and somebody's kept it since 1723.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Very interesting.
And what's it worth?
About $230, between $230, $270, somewhere around there.
Okay, so there we have the contrast in coin collecting. A penny, $200. A coin from 1700s, $200.
Yeah.
In great condition.
Right.
So what keeps people from getting ripped off, overly excited, buying the wrong things? Is it all cataloged? The penny
Coins are all cataloged. I mean, you need somebody to look at them basically and tell you what you have. Because most people, when they look at a coin, they think, oh, this is in really good condition. But it's really not, because it's been polished or cleaned. And that can really deter from a coin.
Right.
You don't ever want to polish or
Leave the
clean
age
a
on
coin.
'em, right.
Leave the patina on there,
Yep.
because that's what coin collectors want.
Yeah.
They want the original coin in the original condition.
It's also what antique collectors usually want.
Yep, exactly.
Which leads me to ask you some things about your antiques.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh, there were so many things in your shop. The cigar store Indian, it's at the moment that you walk in, and you can't miss him. He's right there.
Right.
How did you obtain him?
He came out of a house in, I had a house appointment in Hatfield. They were selling the complete contents of the house, and when I walked in, I saw it, and the minute I saw it, I said, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
That would fit perfect in Turner's Falls.
And is he actually for sale, or is he a fixture at your shop?
He's for sale, but he's expensive.
See, now there's a businessman. Someone else would be emotionally attached to it.
Right.
You say he's for sale. Let's see, another thing. Oh, well, my clock.
Yeah.
We have to talk about my clock a bit.
Right.
I came to the shop. We came to do the location shoot, and I fell in love with a clock that was there, a small mantle clock. I didn't really need a mantle clock,
right.
But it not only kept good time, but when you showed me that it chimed, and the chime is this deep, rich bong.
Right.
It's a very small clock. It's, a mantle clock.
Right.
From about 1875-ish, we
Yep.
think, 1878.
Somewhere around
I think
there,
we've traced it back about that far. And it keeps great time. It's astounding to me. It has a beautiful beveled glass
Door
to it, and the face is gorgeous. And it was easy to find the history on the clock and all of that. And a friend bought it for me as a Christmas gift, and now it sits on my mantle in my home. But I just was, it cast a spell over me.
Yeah.
I had to have that clock. So is that typically what happens to people when they come in your shop, do you think?
I think, they listen to the chime, and it's like every clock has its own chime, and they're all different. So,
Right.
I've been in houses where they have 30, 40 clocks going off, and they kind of go off at different times because, the older clocks aren't going to keep precision time like new ones. They do keep good time,
This one's really close,
They keep good time, but it's not precision time. And it's funny to listen to them all because they're all different.
Yeah.
They're all different tones as they're going off. Yeah.
I particularly like that I have to wind it, and that it isn't digital.
Right.
And it fills the house with this nice soft sound. It's really quite lovely. So thanks for parting with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that same general area, there was a lot of glassware and an Edison Victrola. Do you still call them Victrolas if they're an Edison?
This wouldn't be a Victrola. This would be an Edison. It was the first Edison with the roll type records. They look like.
Oh, this is a little one off to the side on the case, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They have what they call the roll type disc.
Right.
So you place it on there, and then there's this huge horn that goes on it. The horn wasn't set up, I don't think, when we were in the shop.
No, but I think you showed us the roll. I saw the horn on the way out, actually.
Right.
But I don't know that.
But it was a huge horn that they had to amplify the sound, and
Kind of a funny setup, a small roll and this enormous horn.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, what about the other one that we played the record on?
The other one was a wind-up Edison.
horsefly or something like that.
Can't fool an old horsefly.
Yeah.
They have some great records. That is from about early 1900s.
Okay.
And it's a complete wind-up, all mechanical, and plays wonderfully. I got that out of a house in Berniston. It was up in the attic. And when I got it to my shop, I opened it up, wound it, put a record on it, and played beautifully. I didn't have to make
Incredible. Had the needle and everything.
Had the needle and everything.
That's amazing. And the records are quite thick, right?
Yep.
I don't remember if
they're like 5 to 10 times thicker than a normal record. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. That was really cool.
Yeah.
There were some huge things in your shop, like the big sign on the wall, and there was a tiny little dime bank that I almost left with.
Daily Dime Bank.
Tell me about that
Daily Dime Bank. I think they came out probably in the 50s, 40s, 50s, and they were on the concept if a kid put a dime in the bank every day, and after it got $5 in there, the bank would open automatically. But it wouldn't open until you got $5 in there, and it told you
torturous for a child.
Yeah, it told you the day of the week and how much money was actually in the bank as you put each dime in.
It was so cool.
It's incredible. They're very collectible.
We were trying to find dimes to get it to the point where we could open it.
They're very collectible.
Yeah,
very
it was really neat. And it was so tiny. I mean, it was, to go from the large things in your shop.
And they had a lot of characters on them. They had like Popeye and Spaceman
This one had
Superman.
Clown on it.
Yeah, this one had a clown on it.
Yeah.
But I think the most collectible one is the Popeye one.
Yeah.
Popeye's everything. Popeye is very collectible.
Yeah. Before we go into the break, I want to talk just a little bit about your lunchbox collection, but when we come back, I want to talk about trading gold and silver and more about the coins as well. And we'll mix it up with some antique stuff too.
Lunchboxes.
The lunchboxes. Tell me about the lunchbox collection.
Some fun lunchboxes. I think my favorite one, well, I shouldn't say favorite one, it's kind of eerie. It has King Kong on it, and he is standing on the Twin Towers
it was
with
creepy.
an airplane in his hand.
That was creepy.
It's kind of creepy to look at
a little foreshadowing.
But it was, I say to myself, where was King Kong when we needed him?
Gosh, how many do you have? We only saw a sampling of what you had.
I think when I bought the collection, there was probably around over 100 of them, and I've sold quite a few of them.
Wow.
But yeah, it's a great collection. It's unbelievable. Everybody had a lunchbox back then with their own character on it.
It's true.
Bonanza and Hopalong Cassidy and the Beatles. The Beatles is the best one.
The Beatles was outstanding, right?
The Beatles lunchbox can bring $3,000 right now in today's market. Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
And in that same room, we should mention that you've doubled the size of your store. So in this quote bad economy,
actually
Gary's
tripled
Coins and Antiques.
tripled it.
Yeah. Tripled it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
There were these enormous books. The record books.
Yep.
Tell us about that. That was a local find, I bet, right?
Yeah, that was a find out of Berniston. It was a book collection of newspapers from the 1800s. Every library used to catalog the newspapers per day and put them in a rack, so if somebody wanted to look up local history, they would go to that certain day. If something happened on June 12th, they would go to June 12th, 1898, look it up, and they could find out what happened in the news on that day. Yeah. And of course, once microfiche and all this other technologies came out, they were basically destroyed.
Yeah. I was astounded that they were in the condition they're in because they're paper.
Right.
How many were you able to buy, and how many
I bought
did you get?
10 of them. I have like 8 left in my store. Yeah.
And originally there were like 300 or something that you could buy?
he's got 3. I think he still has 300 of them.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
When we come back, will you tell us a little bit about trading gold and silver?
Sure.
And more about the coins? You will?
Yeah.
All right. When we're back with Gary Konvelski.
Underwriting for the Money Doctor Show is provided by Dr. Glenn Brooks at the office of Glenn Brooks and Spa on the Green. 413-565-4400. drglennbrooks.com. Video broadcast services. Complete marketing services for your business. 480-200-4222. Videobroadcastservices.com. Richard Wiedegartner, LMT, Neuromuscular Massage Therapy. For pain relief, call 413-773-5775. rwmassagetherapy.com. Magic Wings Butterfly Conservatory. 4,000 butterflies flying year-round. 413-665-2805. magicwings.com.
Hello and welcome back to The Money Doctor. My guest today is Gary Konvelski from Gary's Coins and Antiques, and we're talking about coins, trading gold and silver, antiques, all kinds of things. So it's not always coins, Gary. Sometimes it's bills that you have, right?
Yeah, currency.
Now, when we were you were in Turner's Falls, of course, and we were talking about what a great little town Turner's Falls is. And you had a bill from Crocker?
Turner's Falls, Crocker National Bank.
Tell us about that a little bit.
It's funny because people walk in and I try to show it to whoever's interested in that type of thing, and when they see a Turner's Falls Crocker Bank, they're saying, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Well, every bank in America had their own money back in 1929. It was called national currency. And the banks would send bonds and securities to the government. The government would print the money with their name on it and send it to them. And then the president and the cashier would sign it and issue it out as money. But I actually have some from Amherst Bank,
Really?
Greenfield Savings Bank, Turner's Crocker National Bank. I have a few notes from there. Belchertown,
cool.
yeah.
That's so cool. And you do like a coin or an antique roadshow kind of thing with about coins at Greenfield Savings Bank?
Greenfield Savings. I've done actually 4 shows. I've done 2 in Turner's and 2 in Amherst.
So what's that like? You bring certain totes?
I stay there. We set up a time, usually between 10 and 12. People can bring their stuff in just like Antiques Roadshow, and I'll evaluate it for them and give them a price of what it's worth. Or they can do the same thing, bring it into my store, because
That's what I was just going to say.
I do free appraisals at the store.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody needs to come in and get an appraisal, there's no charge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually huge. I'm sure there are lots of people who, I didn't realize it was at no charge that you do that.
Most people charge, like if you walk into a jewelry store and want to get something appraised, they're going to charge you $20.
Yeah. Now, is the appraisal something they can give to an insurance company?
Absolutely.
So you're a licensed appraiser?
Well, I'm not licensed, but I'm a professional. So
they can decide that that's the value. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I've actually done it for estates. Lawyers have brought me stuff and said, give me a price on this.
Yeah. Fascinating. Favorite coin story, if you have one? Coin, whether it was buying or selling or something you still own?
Favorite coin story? It was probably the 95. That we talked about earlier.
The penny?
Yeah, the penny.
That was a great thing.
Favorite coin, I think
Can I trump you? One came to mind, and you can tell me what it was worth, I bet. My father was not a serious coin collector, but he had a small tin of coins that he tripped across over his lifetime. And his favorite coin story was that he was walking down the street in Ware, Massachusetts, in front of the White Eagles. I forget what street that was on, Pulaski Street or something. And he looked down, and on the ground was a 20-franc gold piece. And he picked it up, and he had it till the day he died, and I now have it.
Wow.
But I don't know. I'll have to show you. Yeah. I'll have to dig out his stuff and show you and see what you think it was worth. Not that I would part with them, but it would just be fun to know.
Yeah.
But that,
20-franc gold piece is worth a lot of money.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What's a lot of money?
I'd say it's worth a few $100s at least.
Yeah, I would
that's
hope
a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
It must have been huge back then.
He was very proud of it.
Piece,
he was very proud of it. Yeah. That's fun. Yeah. Do you find that people get emotionally attached to their coins and their antiques?
I find it probably 50-50. Yeah. I know I do a lot of estates that the parents die and the children have to go through it. You'll find that some people come in and are very attached to it, and it's like they don't want to sell it.
Right.
And I tell them it's if it's that sentimental, you need to keep it.
Right.
Yeah. And then there are other people that this is her stuff. I have my own stuff.
Yep. I don't want it in my house. Well, I think I think a lot of people sort of ride that line when parents die, because if your parents die when you're well established in your own home, where are you going to put the stuff?
Yeah.
And what did your parents really intend for you to do with it, or your grandparents?
Yeah.
Calamity Jane comes to mind.
Calamity Jane.
Just off the top of my head, you had this little. Tell us about the Calamity Jane thing.
That's probably one of my favorite things in the store.
Yeah.
Calamity Jane. I bought that I actually bought it at an auction because I loved it. It was Calamity Jane towards the end of her career didn't have much money. So she came up with a scheme, I'll write a book. So she wrote this book, and she actually signed it in the back with her real name. And
what was her real name?
I'm not sure.
Wait a minute. We should tell people in case they don't know Calamity Jane.
Yeah.
She was Wild Bill Hickok's
Well, she was.
girlfriend,
Yeah,
essentially.
I think Wild Bill and her were. Yeah, they were very close.
Yeah.
Calamity Jane worked for a lot of the. She worked for the Wild Bill Hickok show, I believe.
Right.
But anyways, she wrote this book and tells a lot of lies in the book to make her sound better than she is.
Yeah.
And I guess it sold, and it made her some money towards the end of her career.
It wasn't very large, right?
No, it was a small book, probably 10 pages.
Yeah, but I mean, in size, it was a few inches?
Yeah, it was probably 8 inches by 4 inches, yeah.
Oh, I had remembered
it was a little
being
like booklet.
Smaller. It was a little booklet. Yeah, you're right. It was a booklet. Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. Now, how did you come across that?
That was at an auction, Heritage Auctions out of California.
Did people bid against you? Did anybody else? Oh, yeah, they were serious.
Yeah, that was serious bidding, yeah.
Do you attend a lot of auctions?
I do, not a lot. I do probably 10 a year, maybe, if.
More estate sales and people calling you now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've made a name.
I get so much,
You've made a name for yourself, right?
Yeah. Which is better for me and actually better for them because they save the 25% that an auction company is going to charge them to sell their stuff.
Speaking of selling stuff, tell us about trading gold and silver.
Trading gold and silver.
Don't you love that I just bring you from one topic to another?
Yeah.
But your shop is like that. There's things that just jam together. So.
It is. And it's funny because somebody will bring in and they'll have antiques, they'll have gold, they'll have silver, they'll have coins.
Yep.
And it's like a whole mixture usually. Trading gold and silver is pretty simple. Like if you had a 1 ounce gold coin, it would be spot price, whatever spot price is for that day. And gold goes up and down every day with the market. So if gold, let's say today it's probably around $1,258. So if a person brought in a 1 ounce gold piece, I would pay them $1,258. You'd get exactly what spot price is on gold. Silver the same way. 1 ounce silver is going to be the same thing.
Okay, and you had the bars in your store that we were able to look at. I think we fanned them out over a nice black velvet piece, and they were pretty impressive. The silver bars, I think we looked at.
We looked at silver bars, and we looked at a 1 ounce gold maple leaf.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, from Canada.
Yeah.
And that's a 1 ounce coin, 999 pure gold.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Yeah. And that usually sells for about 10% over spot price.
Because?
Well, I buy it at spot price.
Right.
So I make 10%.
Oh, all right. I thought you meant even you have to pay 10% over spot price. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty fair, 10% markup, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Do you ever deal in, I don't know what you would call it, like bulk gold, not coins, but gold by weight?
Gold by weight.
Like jewelry that people have melted down or jewelry that people want to sell?
Absolutely. I buy all jewelry, even costume jewelry is collectible. But 14 karat, 10 karat, broken jewelry.
Yep.
Good jewelry,
bring it in and
diamonds.
Find out what it's worth, right?
Yeah.
So the inventory in your store always changes.
Always changes, every day.
Tell me, before we're out of time, we've got about 5 minutes left maybe, but tell me some of the things that you've just brought in because you're heavy in inventory again, right? In a good way. You're always heavy in a good way,
The good stuff never lasts. Usually I have a list of people I call. Let's say I get military stuff in. I have 5 or 6 guys that collect military stuff. I call them, they come in. The next day it's usually gone.
Wow.
I got some interesting stuff in the other day. I went to a house call in, the gentleman was an eye doctor.
From the area,
he had paintings from the American Optical Company, and they look just like
Rockwell's?
Norman Rockwell
yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
They were actually, in the painting, they're trying to sell the glasses, and there's 4 of them, and they're just wonderful. They're from the 1940s, and they're just in amazing condition. But they're so neat the way they've got the old offices, like in the post office. He's setting up, selling eyeglasses.
Really? And what kind of painting medium are they? Oil, do you think? Or?
They're a print. They're an oil print.
Huh.
They're actually an oil over print, which is, I haven't seen many of that type of paintings.
Yeah, that's
before.
interesting.
Yeah.
That was one thing that we didn't talk about in your shop. You do buy artwork.
Yep.
There's certain pieces of art.
I buy anything.
You buy
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Any type of antiques, any type of artwork. I like artwork. Yeah. I've had some good artwork. I did have a couple Magnetis. One of them just sold the other day. That's Magnetis are very collectible.
Yes, very collectible.
Yeah, in this area.
How did you gain your knowledge of antiques? I think you told me once when you started you didn't really have that, right? Yeah.
Hit and miss. When I started the store, I was basically going to do coins, but the store was so big, there was nothing in the store, and the store was so big I had to fill it. So I advertised buying antiques, and it's gone from there. Do a lot of research. It takes a lot of time on the computer. Day and night doing research on stuff.
I bet. How long have you been doing this?
3 years. Over 3 years now.
Yeah. And
the
really,
antiques,
really actively.
The coins.
The coins.
A long time.
How long's long?
I started probably around 1980, the late 80s.
Okay. Yeah. What changes do you see coming up in the store in the near future? Do you think you'll expand more? Do you think you'll change what inventory comes in? Are you happy where you're at?
I think it's. I'd love to have a bigger store.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. I think that the inventory changes enough to where it's good.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of, and I like unusual stuff. I love anything unusual.
I remember the carousel swan.
Ostrich.
It was an ostrich.
Yeah, it was a carousel ostrich.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that didn't last long.
No.
That was in and out.
Yeah.
Yep.
2 weeks, I think. I had it at the most.
And I think when we were in there that day, there were professional dealers calling you and asking, did you have things? I mean, amateurs are welcome, so are professionals, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a lot of dealers come in from Brimfield, and I wholesale a lot of stuff out of my store.
Yep.
I like to move stuff, so it's a good way to, do it.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Yeah.
If people want to get in touch with you, where can they find you? You're on Avenue A in Turner's,
Avenue
right?
A, 115 Avenue A, in between the pizza place and Pepioni's. And they can find me on the website, Gary's Coins and Antiques, Turner's Falls.
Yeah.
Or
at Breakfast at the Shady Glen.
At Breakfast at the Shady Glen.
Is there a
every
phone number?
morning. Yeah, there's a phone number, 413-834-4615.
Thanks for doing this, Gary.
All right.
It was fun, and
It's a
thanks for having
pleasure.
us in your shop.
Pleasure.
Until our
Anytime.
next chat, I'm the Money Doctor with Gary Konvelski from Gary's Coins and Antiques, reminding you to keep it positive.
There's a better life if I could be debt free, but all my money is a mystery. I was feeling overwhelmed and it was wearing thin when I knocked on the door and heard the doctor's in. Oh, the doctor's in, the doctor's in. She got the right prescription to help you win. Oh, the doctor's in, the money doctor's in.